Focus on Love FM. Start your day right with a word from God.
Reminiscing that 6 train from way back. Now it's sky blue phantoms and stretch Maybachs. For sweeping them floors in them Bronx apartments. To meet I had Take on that red carpet. When Pun died, you was the first to call me. I never told you, but you was there for me. Whatever you need, I'll be there for you. Crack, I got your back for real. True story.
My loyalty will always be with you if you just promise me that you'll stay real just like you are. Cause baby, you don't have to change, no. You don't know how much you mean to me. Whenever you're down, you know that you can lean on me. No matter the situation, boy, I'm gonna hold you down.
You don't know how much you mean to me. Whenever you're down, you know that you can lean on me. No matter the situation, girl, I'm gonna hold you down. 2005, Rakim and Joe.
This is music from Fat Joe, featuring J-Lo on this one. That's Jennifer. Okay, so Jennifer Lopez's music featuring Fat Joe on this one. Hold You Down is the title, and Leo Stanley says he's in love with this song simply because of the fact that it's a song that talks about suicide. For those of you who
holding people down.
Holding people down. I mean, if you have contemplated taking your own life before, don't take your life. I mean, the fact that the fact that you want to take your life, you don't know how much you mean to somebody else. It could be your mother, it could be your father, it could be your sibling, it could be a colleague at work, it could be a friend, it could be anybody at all.
Yeah.
So when you decide to take your life, you know what impact, what the effect is going to be.
They just have to remember the lyrics of the song. It says, you don't know how much you mean to me.
Yeah.
Whenever you are down, you know that you can lean on me.
Yeah.
No matter the situation, me and David and everybody here is going to hold you down.
And it's been a very beautiful week already. I mean, it's been an eye-opener. Listen, Leo, even yesterday when we were done, if Ohemi Tiri will be joining us shortly. He's an assistant editor with the Multimedia Group. Yesterday when we were done, a woman called me. Now, she's a mother of, I think, 3 or 4. And she said at one point in time in her life, she was contemplating suicide because things were so tough, so rough, not just for her in terms of life, but even in her marriage. Now, according to this woman, she wanted to take the lives of the children, after which she would take her own life. That was what she was planning to do. Yeah, I'm happy. Ohemi is walking into the studios now. So what she wanted to do when she was speaking to me, and Ohemi, you remember yesterday when the woman said to us that she was finding life so difficult and so tough and so rough, she wanted to kill her children and then take her own life. Along the line, she got divorced. Things started falling in place for her gradually. Now, do you know, one of her children has become a medical doctor. So if she had carried that thing through, will Ghana have had a beautiful doctor? She has other children. I mean, maybe the more I talk about her, maybe I'll be disclosing too much. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, David.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
Charlie, you've set Kumasi and the whole entire nation ablaze. Listen, my phone lines have not been ringing like it has been in the past few days. I mean, within every hour, I'm having calls and text messages from people who are telling me about the suicidal tendencies they have or they had, and the fact that our conversation that we began on Monday has helped them. So, for example, the person's English is not too good, but it's still readable. This one came through to me late last night. Read it for me. What does it say?
So, the message says, "Hello, Mr. David. In fact, I have known you." Okay.
Someone
where
let me try and read
since the late 90s and have your number still. Then the message goes on to say, in fact, I'm going through a lot. but always keep it for myself. Of late, I've been asking myself this question: why am I here?
Why am I here?
These are some of the challenges. Well, David.
Like I said,
I am
English-
48, married.
He's 48, not married.
And not married, yeah. Only, is it? 2, okay. Only son and children of my late mother. How to raise only 2,000 Ghana cedis to pay extension fee to graduate a school. I couldn't get it. So
But he has also contemplated
I have
suicide.
not submitted my thesis due to financial problems. So I've seen myself as
I feel that.
that is where the problem is.
That's where the problem
as a
is.
failure.
That's what the problem really is.
Yes.
Listen, so as a parent or a guardian, you might think that you are doing everything so well so that your children are fine. Listen, you might be deceiving yourself. Listen, ever since we embarked on our quest to save lives, especially of children who want to take their own lives, we have learned that although as parents we're doing so well, we're providing them everything, the children, feeding them, clothing them, doing everything for them, they have their own personal issues that to some extent is putting pressure on them. And some way, somehow, some of them want to take their lives or have taken their lives. Now, if you remember, on Tuesday, we spoke to a friend of mine. He's a boss, actually. And he told us what his daughter went through. Now, Leo has seen, I was saying that this morning, that Leo has seen a picture of this young girl. Leo, when he saw the picture, was so much, in love, let me put it that way, with the girl. Well, this same girl looks at herself, and is not comfortable, is not confident in her own self. Don't take my word for it. This is a father who spoke to us on Tuesday. This is a father who believes and thinks that he's doing everything so well for his daughter, and yet the daughter was having suicidal tendencies. Take a listen.
Not knowing she was dealing with issue of self-esteem, she believed she was growing too big. And most of her closest friends have got this figure that they can wear anything that they want. My daughter had made plans on how she was going to take her life. By using a certain drug that I don't want to mention the name, I can tell you of her because somebody might want to try it. She has researched on the quantum of dosage that she will take because she wants to go without any pain. And what had saved her, she wanted to do it on 3 occasions. The main reason why she did not do it is that my last born, who was about 3 years old then, doesn't sleep with anybody. It is only my daughter's bed that he sleeps on. And according to what my daughter wrote in the journal, each time she wanted to take that medication, she looks at her younger brother and then she asks herself, so if she goes by tomorrow morning, what will this boy do in the evening? Where would he sleep? And on 3 occasions, she tried, and because of the younger brother, she couldn't take those medications.
So that was a father who to his mind, does everything for his child. Unfortunately, the child had suicidal tendencies, had wanted to take her own life. Listen, what would you want to say to people out there who are contemplating suicide, all right? What would you want to know, even about what people go through? I mean, all the things that they use in taking their lives or trying to take their lives, what do they go through? Is it painful? And even when they don't succeed in taking their lives, how is life for them when they don't succeed to take their lives? Because people see them in our society and we look at them funny. So let's continue our conversation. If there's anything at all you want to know, if there's any question at all you would like to have answers to, you can call it, send us a message to our WhatsApp number 055-1111-995. All right, it is 055-1111-995. Anything at all about suicide, anything at all, just ask a question or try to encourage somebody not to take his or her life. Feel free and do this for us. Our WhatsApp number again is 055-1111-995. Now on Facebook, we are live because we're showing you excerpts from Ohimi Interior's documentary, Whispers in the Dark. Now let me go to the phone lines and begin the conversation with a gentleman called Emmanuel. Now Emmanuel was listening to us on Tuesday, And he mentioned to us when he called us, when he sent a message actually on Tuesday, that he was contemplating suicide. He says at the time he owed some fees of 7,000 Ghana cedis, and therefore have not had his certificate given to him, and so he was contemplating suicide. Unfortunately, fortunately for him, he met with a man who told him not to commit suicide, but to commit everything to God in prayer. That's what the man said to him. And as we speak, well, he's on the phone lines, because when he joined us on the day with a message, what we said to him was not to take his life, and that we will try to see what we can do to help him. And fortunately for us, he's still on the lines right now. His name is Emmanuel. Emmanuel, good morning to you.
Good morning, sir.
And how are you doing, Emmanuel?
I'm doing great. How are you too?
Well, I'm well. So when you sent us a message on Tuesday and we called you, and you told us about the fact that you wanted to take your life, we told you not to. And we said we're going to see what we can do to help your situation. As we speak, how are you doing? Do you still have the suicidal tendencies?
No. I am so very grateful in that through your medium, two people promised me, although they don't want me to mention their names, they promised me to come for a help. Actually, the first person gave me 3,000, and that very Tuesday. And yesterday morning, another person gave me 500. So currently, I was quickly to inform my principal that this what I have as a help from Edition Love FM. So, as I used not to answer her call or any call from campus whenever they are calling to find out whether I'm ready for my certificate. Currently, I'm now receiving my decisions and see to it that God can pass so many ways to help. So I'm very grateful, and more to the point, I'm now happy about the situation.
Okay, so Emmanuel, my next question to you is: looking back at your thoughts when you say you wanted to take your life, and now, where there's a bit of support coming to you right now, how is the feeling like for you?
Oh, I'm now very grateful, and indeed, I have hope that life will go on well. Now I have hope. Not like before.
So now you are happy that you didn't go ahead to take your life, are you?
Yes, please. I'm happy.
So do you regret having those thoughts? Do you regret, even planning to take your own life at the time?
Yes, very, very regretful.
Great. I'm happy that you're saying that you have regrets, and I'm happy that you are alive, and then gradually we're getting there, because you say you owe school fees of 7,000 Ghana cedis. Right now, by grace to our listeners, you have 3,500 Ghana cedis. We're going to go ahead and ensure that we raise the rest. But tell me this: when you were contemplating the suicide, Emmanuel, didn't you have any kind of fear? Were you not harboring any fear whatsoever?
Indeed, there wasn't any fear, because what I have gone through, I think it was difficult than when you are not alive. Because the trauma was too much, indeed. The trauma was too much.
Who says when you take your life, it was going to solve a problem? Do you know what is even out there, life after death? Do you know what is there for you to think that that place will be better than here?
No, please.
Did you hear my question?
Hello?
Hello, Emmanuel, did you hear my question?
Hello?
Yeah, did you hear my question?
No, come again.
So my question to you is this: you wanted to take your life because to you, life is unbearable here, and so you wanted to move on to the next life. And I'm asking, who says that that place is better than here?
Indeed, I don't know, but actually.
All right. So then my next question to you is this: I want you to use your own experience to speak to people who may be going through a challenge or two and are contemplating, taking their own lives. You wanted to, somebody met up with you and said, listen, take it to God in prayer. You listened to Love FM, you called, you sent a message to the show, we called you, and now gradually you're getting the money that you're looking for to better your life. What would you want to say to people who are, as we speak, contemplating suicide?
I'll advise them not to take that decision, because there is a lot of many ways of getting out from that problem. As I was trying to go through research and ask It was through an advice. And now I can see to it that there is hope and then I can go on with my life. And more to the point, anybody who is attempting suicide, I'll be the first person to intervene and advise, because I have seen to it that it's not good to take that decision. It's rather to consult and share your problem to see how best if you can get the help.
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. Man, also, we're in this together, all right? And I'm happy that you've dropped that thought of taking your own life. I'm happy that you've used your own experience, your own story to advise people out there not to take their lives as well. So good to have had you join us, and we wish you well.
That's beautiful.
Indeed it is. Indeed it is. And to our listeners out there, for those of you who always are kind and nice to our listeners and support our shows, we're grateful to you. Unfortunately, you don't want us to mention your name, so we cannot mention your names and all that. But we're glad that you do the listening, and you just don't do the listening, but you support us in many, many ways. So thank you very much to all of you. And next, we're going to be speaking to Professor Osei Sampeni, Poku Osei Sampeni. Now, he's a pathologist, and he has done, autopsies on many of these people who have taken their lives, and he's going to be sharing some experience with us. Professor Paul Opoku Sampeni Osei is an associate professor with the Department of Pathology, SMSK NUST. He's also a consultant pathologist with the Confanoche Teaching Hospital, and so Prof will be joining us shortly also to tell us what these people go through. Because I'm wondering, what would make somebody want to take his life? The pain and the trauma that the person might be going through. He understands these things, and he's going to help us appreciate it. And so I think we have Prof on the line. We have Prof on the line right now. Prof, good morning to you.
Good morning, Dave.
And how are you doing, sir?
Oh, by His grace, we are doing fine, and I hope you are also fine.
I'm fine. Welcome back home to Ghana.
Thanks so much. Yeah.
So, Prof, what would be your initial comment on people, including children, who attempt to take their lives? What would be your initial thought on this?
My comment is that I feel sad when I see children, especially committing suicide, and then the vulnerables also committing suicide. I feel very sad. I was listening to the program just now when you spoke to that young man who had in mind that he wanted to commit suicide, and looking at him, most of these things, the reasons why some people commit suicide fall within the done so far. When I attempted doing autopsies on those bodies, and then the papers sometimes they write and leave behind. It suggests that there are a lot of complexities when it comes to suicide deaths.
What are these complexities you talk about? You say you have done a lot of autopsies on these people who have taken their lives, and their complexities. Share them with us.
Well, I've shared a time with that number that when you see people, anyway, I didn't greet your cherished listeners. Let me first of all greet them and wish them all the best, and those who have any intentions of doing so should stop. Like I said, the complexities are quite quite sad. Especially among children, the first thing that I have noticed is that most of them do it out of experimentation. They feel that, let's experiment it. They watch, in the films where people have committed suicide. I'm talking about children of their age have committed suicide, and then they feel that it's real, and so sometimes they also want to attempt it. But unfortunately, they don't seem to understand that these are all forms. And sometimes I always say to myself, do we censor some of these forms where children go through the fact that they are watching all these funny films, especially the cinemas from Nigeria, Ghana, and India especially, and as well. Those things, I think they should be censored. Then the second one is in children whose parents are not living together, especially those who live with their stepmothers. Those who live with their stepfathers, most of the time they are safe. But those who live with their stepmothers go through a whole lot of hell from their mothers. I did a case in fact 2 cases for that matter, in Waseko, where a class 6 pupil wrote a note that she cannot stay with her father, their stepmother again because of the unbearable conditions he said the boy in. And through to the autopsy, you could see that the boy was neglected. You look into the internal organs, everything was more or less not normal. The spleen was enlarged, the liver enlarged, the stomach was empty, And you could see that the boy was really, really neglected by the mother who, as it were, taking care of him from the father's previous marriage. So, these are some of the things. And so, the complexity sometimes a part of experimentation, and then broken home. These days, not only in fact, the statistics show that from 2018 down the lane, a lot of people are committing suicide because of, hopelessness, unemployment, one, lack of finances to take care of one's, a family, and two, people who, for some reason, have lost their loved ones, and those who, for some reason, feel that they've been jilted by their boyfriends or girlfriends, which is very common these days among the youth in the universities and then, in our tertiary institutions. Even these days, secondary school children are committing suicide because of the loss of a boyfriend or a girlfriend. So those are some of the complexities that I have seen, and then those that they write and leave behind.
But Prof, tell me this: the act of taking one's life, I'm wondering and asking myself, is it an easy thing to do? Don't they go through pain? Per the autopsies that you have done, don't they go through any kind of pain?
Maybe they do. In fact, we call them a science of autopsy. In fact, of course, let me also say this, that there are people who, for some reason, have been killed, and then disguised as though they find themselves. There are people who have been killed, and then they do as though they have killed themselves. No, that one and that. But those who commit suicide proper, those ones who decide that they want to take their life, the first thing is that they feel that it's simple. But the moment the rope gets onto their neck, and not only the rope, or sometimes when they use sharp objects to inflict wounds on their bodies, vital organs, trying to spoil them or damage them so that they can bleed extensively and die, or those who take poisonous substance and die from them, they go through pain. There is something we call clenching face. When the thing gets into your body, how you wish you could have stopped, but that time it's too late. And so you see them clenching their face. This means that the person was in pain prior to his death or her death. And then sometimes some of them defecate on themselves. You understand? So all these things, and including the fact that you see some in an attempt at removing or trying to lose the noose. I'm talking about the hook from their leg. Some of them will scratch themselves, especially, around their ribs and all those things. So you could see that they also go through pain.
Can we also say that they sometimes, let's say, have regrets along the line? Is it possible that you can detect that?
Come again, I can hardly hear that.
I'm asking, through the autopsies, is it possible you can detect whether at a point in time they had regrets when they were trying to take their lives? Do they have regrets?
Yes. Maybe once you have pain, and the pain is like that, it's irreversible. You have already committed. Most of the time, what happens is that when they do, especially those who hang themselves on height, what they do is that immediately they remove whatever they step on or whatever they can to give them support. They remove it, and when it is removed, now there's no way you can hang and then get yourself support so as to get it. So of course you will get. You see them, the pain and the things that they go through. It's a sign of pain. You understand? And some have intentionally decided to do that. I did a case somewhere in France, where a man who meant, in fact, he really meant to commit suicide, because initially he took some this organophosphate poison, and then when I believe that he felt that the death was not forthcoming, so he has to hang himself on top of the poison substance he took. Some strongly believe that there's no hope, and so they feel that they want to commit suicide.
So
but the person even in this man, you could see that he was in pain.
So to end our conversation this morning, Prof, how do we curb this? How do we improve the situation? How do we ensure that less people take their lives? We know we cannot do with it entirely. I'll do away with it entirely. But how or what can we do to ensure that we minimize it to the barest of minimums?
Well, that's the reason why research is done. You do research, get to not to all to the bottom of the cases anyway, but then to give suggestions. If you do research without suggestions, it's a waste of time. So one of the suggestions that I would do is that looking at what the complexity that I find, first and foremost among children, first, experimentation is one thing that we should try to let them understand that it's not something that is reversible. And so therefore, watching of certain films that are meant for adult consumption should be avoided among children. That should be avoided completely. And then exposing children to harmful objects such as guns, blades, and all those nice sharp objects for that matter, we should try as much as possible to avoid the children from getting access to that. Then second one is the fact that now joblessness is one of the things that is unemployment is also one. So that one goes to the society, the government, who or maybe those who don't have work. Of course, there are some people who are naturally lazy, but those who want to work, I know that those who want to work would like to work and get money to fend for themselves, not to depend on anybody. So therefore, I believe that there should be a way of making sure that people are employed. No matter how small the money is, the person, once employed, there is always hope that he will that one day move upon his level of life. So it's very, very important. And third one is that we should also try as much as possible to get the psychology available all over, in schools, in our churches, in our various hospitals. We should try as much as train a lot of these psychologists so that from time to time they also come on air to, as it were, advise people on the things of this nature that once you are not dead, at least there's still hope. And I believe that those who are church goers or Christians, they will bear with me that the only thing that God says when you do, you will not be forgiven, is to commit suicide. Because the life that you have does not belong to you. It was invested to you by somebody else, so you can't take it when the person has not given you opportunity to do so. So basically, psychiatrists will also be encouraged. And then from time to time, when a friend or maybe a relative comes to you and says that life is not worth living, don't take it just like that. Try to go deep into whatever he means by life is not worth living. When he opens up with you, then you try to give some advice in your own level. You give advice, and when you feel that it's too much that you cannot give, then you refer the person to a profession, somebody who is in that professional manner in terms of advising people. Then the person goes there, seek advice.
All right, Prof. Thank you very much for your time this morning. Prof. Professor Paul Poku Sampeni is an associate professor with the Department of Pathology. And we say thank you very much, sir, for your time with us this morning. And we have with us in the studios a psychologist in Daniel Fojo. And of course, the man who set this whole thing rolling, or him interior and assistant, editor with the Multimedia Group. Gentlemen, good morning to all of you.
Good morning.
Let me throw something at you, Danny. Something that Prof said when he mentioned that we need in our schools and in our churches, psychologists to be able to help. I asked this question yesterday, and for want of time, we couldn't get an answer. When you look at our senior high schools and our tertiaries, would you say that we have the right people there? I mean, we have counselors there anyway, but do they have the requisite training and the tools to be able to help children or students who intend to take their lives? Because not long ago, we know that a student of K University wanted to take his life. He's a medical student, and the medical student, many would say, we should have known better. So would you say that we have the right counselors, the right professionals on the various campuses to be able to help young ones who are intending to take their lives?
In fact, David, if you talk about the requisite skills that counselors do have, it is more than enough to deal with some of these situations. But I think these things keep happening because sometimes if you work outside of these campuses and if you're a psychologist, you're a mental health professional and you work outside these campuses, most of the time some of these cases will come from these institutions that do have really highly qualified counselors and psychologists who are working there. Now, the only difficulty is that our society in itself has actually downplayed mental health for so long that even students or children that are in these institutions feel that, oh, that one is not, if I go and see this person, it means that I'm crazy. If I go and see this person, it means that I'm weak. This particular statement that I'm weak is something that is on the mind of a lot of students and a lot of people, not just students. That if you go and see a psychologist, it means you are weak. You are not weak. And that has run through their minds to the extent that even when they are in a university, they are very much aware, or even in a secondary school, they might be aware that there are counselors and psychologists placed in these institutions, but they would not even make an effort to look for them. Because anybody in these institutions knows that there's a library, and they look for that library. But students would not even care. If you look at some of the itineraries of these counselors and psychologists in these institutions, you realize that they do their best to find a way of informing the students where they are, but students just don't care. And then the sad part is that the moment they have a problem, that is when they are unable to locate these people, and then they get themselves into these situations. I'm not just saying that the fault is theirs, but I'm saying that for us society, if we can just change our mind towards mental health a little bit and realize that mental health is part of health, and whatever it is, if we are giving health services, it should definitely include mental health service, and we should conscientize everybody's mind to that fact so that they will look for it. And when that happens, some of these things could be averted.
Ohime, you have engaged with people who attempted suicide and fortunately, by grace of God, were not successful. Did they say to you that they tried to get help, or like they didn't even know where to go get help from? What was the story or the situation?
Sorry, David. With all the people that I engage, let me start from where Daniel left, because what I realized and also found out is the fact that a family's religious or cultural belief, do affect the person's, how the person sees mental health and then suicide. So, for instance, if a family comes from a tribe or has a religious belief that anything that happens to you has to be treated religiously, it affects even investigations into some of these things. And so all the persons I engage, for instance, in the central region, I had the opportunity to meet 26 people who attempted suicide.
Wow.
Yes, 26 of them. And out of the number, I would say that not even 2 of them knew that these issues were issues that has to be treated at the hospital. And so in the first place, they had no idea
where to go to.
No. And all the 26 people that I spoke to, 20 of them ended up at the prayer camp. Yes, it's very prevalent in the central region. For those of you who know central region, yes, it's very, very prevalent in the central region. So every problem that happens to any individual is given that religious,
spiritual connotation
or spiritual connotation. So you need to go find out what is happening to you spiritually. And that is why some of the prophets or ministers of God have this belief that they have the supernatural powers.
They're just capitalizing,
to heal
they're just capitalizing on
the
innocence of poor people to do what they do.
And it's true. You see, David, this spiritual part to it that came up even yesterday.
And even this morning,
yes,
a very good friend of mine who's a lecturer at the KNUST, Dr. Machi, good morning to you. He's raised concerns about the spiritual aspect of things as well.
So you see, we are Africans, we are black people, we are very religious, we are very spiritual. In fact, we are the only population that you find higher levels of these two variables, religiosity and spirituality, very, very high. Now the thing is that we are not just saying that everything that surrounds suicide might not have those kind of explanations, but per the experiences that we have, I can tell you point blank that when somebody is in a suicidal state, right, about 99% of it has nothing to do with spirituality. It has nothing to do. Do you see?
How do you know?
The thing is that we underestimate what our brain can do. That is what we are underestimating. Our brain controls everything that we do, including our thoughts. There are portions of the brain that, when stimulated, you will think in a certain direction. And therefore, if we say that this is not spiritual, those that say that, oh, sometimes you hear clear voices, if you are hearing clear voices, there is something happening within your brain. And that is what is making you hear those voices.
So there's no way. You said 99%. What about the 1%?
We can talk to.
What about the 1%?
We can talk to religious leaders, very good ones, and I'm just saying very good ones, and they will tell you that even when God speaks to you, when they say God speaks to you, it is just like an intuition that comes. There are very fewer instances where you hear clear voice. You see, but people take this for granted, and then when they hear anything, they say it is spiritual.
But you said 99%. You didn't say 100%. You said 99% of the time. So what about the 1%?
You see, the 1% hardly happens, and the 1%, you will see that there would be a particular behavioral patterns that would be absent for that to happen. So if somebody would say that, oh, I heard a voice in my head saying that take your life, or jump on the streets, jump in front of a train, or stuff like that, you will see that there are behavior patterns, there are things that are happening before that instance do come up. Now, God, or let me say God, because a lot of people say that it is God that is talking to them, especially those that believe they're spiritual. God will not tell you to take your life. God wouldn't do that. God will not destroy the life He's given you. So the moment you are hearing some of these things,
okay, it's not from God.
It's not from God.
What about demons?
Well, demons. Well, if I am not well versed in that particular field, so I may not be able to answer these things. But in a clear sense, I just want people to understand that if you move your mind away from that spirituality, you are likely to find the help you are looking for earlier than relying on religious or spiritual.
And they know your vulnerability at that time. They would want to take advantage of it and say a manner of things and extort money from you and all that. Of course, it is. But you spoke to people who have survived it. How is life for them after that attempt? How does society, accept them after that attempt?
It's a bit difficult because the KNUST student I featured in my documentary is a resident of Kumasi. This is not happening in any, excuse my language, remote area, but in Kumasi here, in his neighborhood, people stigmatize him. All his actions, decisions, or the quest to end his life emanates from the fact that within his vicinity, the neighborhood that he lives, people are stigmatizing him.
By doing what exactly?
It's being stigmatized because they compare him to a certain gentleman in the area who has never ever walked before. So yes, you may be living with cerebral palsy. You can walk. You attended primary school. You walked through the education ladder all the way to the university level, but still people stigmatize you. Why? Because of my health condition.
How does that make him feel?
So he feels that he's not being understood. He's not being treated fairly. And he's not getting the necessary attention and the respect that he has to get.
How many times has he attempted suicide?
He told me over 100 times.
Huh?
Oh, yes.
And he's still alive?
Yes, he has tried it on several occasions and he's still alive.
But has he sought for help? Has his parents taken him to seek help?
Yes, as we speak. He's being helped by psychiatrists and psychologists at Kolfanochi Teaching Hospital. And even when in the documentary I engaged him, he told me he feels like the time is right to take his life. But when I told him, when you die, if you want to avoid the discussion that people have, the negative discussions and all that, he said, no. The discussion has nothing to do with me.
What about how the parents will feel?
The former president died, people discuss him. Elizabeth died, people discuss him.
I think I heard him in that documentary on Monday. But the question again is this. He doesn't care about people he'll be leaving behind as to how they'll be feeling?
No, for people with suicidal thoughts and tendencies, that doesn't come in at all.
David, you see, the question that you are asking,
the last point, they've reached that last point when everything about whatever action they want to take is about themselves.
But you remember when we spoke to the man on Tuesday, whose daughter had planned everything. The daughter, according to the man, the daughter says she did not take her life because she looks at the little brother who was then 3 years old, sleeps in her bed all the time. So she asks herself, if I should take my life, what happened to this girl? That's what I'm asking in this case.
That is 1 out of 100.
Yes. but you see, that the dynamics in that particular scenario and the one that you are asking is that there is always a physical evidence that would prompt you, that will act as a cue to the person who is going to. You see, when you get to that point where when the individual says, "You know what, life is I'm not worthy
unbearable,
of life.
I'm fed up."
Yes, and the life that I have
loser,
is worthless, and I need to just move on. They need to be challenged. You see, what normally happens is that those are strong negative thoughts that have been validated by this particular individual in their own rights.
Yeah, I agree with you.
If the challenge to those negative thoughts are not as strong as those thoughts, that will happen. They will keep on doing what they are doing.
Listeners, you can join our conversation now, and I have learned a lot. I'm excited about what we've done this whole week. You can call us on 03220-83596, 03220-83597, 03220-83598. Call us. Let's together save lives. Because a lot of people, listen, like I keep saying throughout this week, people that I don't know, and I don't know how they got my number, have called me, have sent me messages. It's scary. The number of people who think that life is not worth living anymore and they want to take their own lives. And once again, I say a big thank you to Ohimini Interior for bringing this up, because we are saving lives. Yeah. We are saving lives. Christoph, good morning to you.
Good morning, my brother. How are you, sir?
Well, Chris, let's hear you, sir.
This is a good show. David, I want to task Eugene to compare Africa vis-a-vis the Western world, the way people take their life in terms of hanging, maybe poisoning themselves or using a sharp object on themselves. Let's see the dynamic. Now, that notwithstanding, I want to challenge the man in the studio that, David, look, your profession might let you be biased about certain things. Like maybe your area of specialization can let you say that this doesn't exist. David, we should not rule out the spiritual aspect. If you hear voices, and it is very obvious, as you said, God will never tell you to take your life. So if you hear voices, I'm here to tell you that there is something that is working you. It can be demonic, it can be your family, it can be something that...
Well, when he was asked, he says he cannot speak to it. He said 99% of the time it's not spiritual.
David, let me finish.
It's about the 1%, he says, well, he cannot speak to that one.
Good.
And so thank you very much, Christoph. I mean, the spirituality, we don't dwell too much on it. Let me just keep quiet on this one. Nana Kweku, good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Yeah. You've been talking about this, and I want to mention some trigger points where parents should start watching about. One, should your child more or less be a big? When people start calling your child Obolo or umbrofalizing Biggie, it's a trigger point. When you, as a parent, you start going about, if your child gets bad grades, it's a trigger point. And then as well, when you are there and then you start engaging in people, being with people who will not motivate you, but rather will want to always say things that will more or less lead you to be depressed. Such things are of such, associate yourself with such people, because these are trigger points. And moving forward, I always say, there are big people. If you're listening to me right now, if you're facing financial problems, hey, no more banks, the banks will take it from them, and they are even still alive. They're writing books and making money from their books. So if you're still 4,000 cities or even 100,000 might have been missing, lost that money, there are richer people that have lost their money. If you have been divorced, Bill Gates has even had the wife, the richest man in the world, even had the wife divorcing him. How much more you, in a simple person, with just your 1,000 cities? But
we have different levels of absorption and taking and managing things. And Nakweku, thanks very much for joining us. Can we speak to Jerry now? Hi, Jerry. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, David.
Come, Jerry. Let's hear you, sir.
All right, David. This is the third time I've been following this particular discussion. And the last time I called, I commended you for the good job you're doing for Madagascar. And I will urge you and multimedia to take this topic and discussion nationwide, because this thing is really hurting a lot of families. So this education and discussion and measures and all that you are doing to help the children, especially the adolescents, please, it shouldn't end here. please carry this thing nationwide.
We hear you. Thank you very much, Jerry. That's why there's a part 2 coming up your way next Monday. Don't miss the part 2 documentary for anything. It's more of an eye-opener than the first one is or has been. Thank you very much, Jerry, for joining us. SK, good morning.
Good morning, David.
Welcome, SK. Sir, let's hear you.
Yes, I've been following the program since Monday. David, there are many things that cause people to get depressed, and also to the extent that they would want to take their lives. Life is hard, and even in our times now, life is even more difficult. And people who don't have hope that things will get better would want to take their lives. It's not easy. I know people who have been to that point, friends who have gotten to that point. The one thing that is good about some of the cases I've witnessed is that they've been able to talk to people who have been able to help them out with advice. When you get to a point in life that you realize that life has become hopeless, the next thing you consider is suicide. It's not easy, and economic factors, more of economic situations that people find themselves in are making them to want to leave this world. It's not easy, David.
Thank you very much, SK, for joining us. Leo Stanley will be reading messages from Facebook and also from our WhatsApp page shortly. But let me ask this question, because I asked that same question yesterday. We couldn't have time to answer. How can we use people who have attempted to take their lives to help educate people, inform people, to serve as a deterrent of a sort for them?
In fact, when we do this, what information it actually communicates to those that would be contemplating suicide would be that just where you are going, somebody has gone through that path before. Because normally, in the minds of those that are contemplating suicide, they feel that where they are, nobody has been there before. What I'm experiencing, all the terrible things I'm going through, nobody.
But will people be willing to avail themselves for them to be used as a tool to help people who are going through a challenge?
You see, what Ohime talked about, somebody who has been through it would have some form of regrets, would have a stigmatization staring in their face, and they would want, most of them would want to really speak out, to let people know, because the crux of the matter is that they feel that everybody around them don't understand them.
Okay.
So if they get that opportunity, they would be able to.
Okay. Let's go back onto the phone lines and speak to our very final caller. Nkrumah, good morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
Nkrumah, beka utwini ba. What dey Kwabena Nkrumah na say Kwame Nkrumah na say Kwesi Nkrumah. What's it? Kwesi Nkrumah, Kwesi Nkrumah yeti o.
We da some more Canada bia ni timu pa na situation ni wombi pa enra de yikura me ki attempt na bia no niema bibiri na de basisi aminu ka sei ma se majuma sei na yire ni meja me kwa na me ti ni light kura na me ti kuma enti no dwendwene nsem na no wi nyina koye se e wo se wo firi ase na me ko konfano ti se ka me pe cancel di ba madam na mkusi ni so wan ti se na ja me sabe fi sa think of him area menya number pa na jamenya futu kakra dia me ti kura na me kachire ni me pena sempa me make attempt ya no frame phone so ti edene
Nkrumah obese ku hu enra na obese ku hu
efri bese matanti to buribiri na kura de me tanti ni me jaye me ba no ya no frame oh
Akwesi, yeah, forward numbers to see and no pay your psychologist will studio. No be doing come my why. Akwesi Nkrumah, you be free to see. And I don't know how come that I don't know the number of people who want to do this. It's crazy.
So let me tell you something.
It's crazy.
Let me tell you something about how the economic.
Hold on for me 1 second. Joe, did you take his number? You have. Thank you very much. All right.
So you see, there are classical experiments that has been done on how an organism or an individual will tend to certain behaviors when they feel that they are suffocating in a particular environment. Now, if you put rats in a very confined place, and there are many, you would realize that they will start eating themselves and killing. Even some might even kill themselves.
I think there's an experiment on that.
There's so many. So many. There are classical ones and there are even contemporary ones. So when the economic hardships, these behaviors would happen because the person would feel so suffocated that they can't buy the basic things they need, like food, and therefore they will start questioning their existence.
I saw a video yesterday of a guy who came to Remember Face program, and I'm happy that Ebo White and Co want to help him. The guy came here and says, "Why be a man? Why should you twice? Good business, no? Was sending them on your mengina? What boom do you hear before?" I looked at the video yesterday. I was like, "This guy can easily contemplate suicide."
Exactly. I think he even said it. He said he was planning on taking
Go on to WhatsApp for me. What are people saying there?
So
you can go on to Facebook
Good
as well.
morning, David and the team in the studio. Thank you very much for the good works you are doing to save valuable lives. The issue of suicide is a painful one for the victims, and it becomes the last option in a state of hopelessness. It happens when one gets to the state where it is meaningless to be alive. I had suicidal thoughts and plans to execute when I lost my business investment with people's loan, but God saved me a number of times. A simple question that kept stopping me was, who was going to pay the people who owe me, for which reason you are taking your life? Anytime that question comes into my mind, it stopped me in my tracks. I must say that my hope in God and church attendance really helped me over the years, as I believe God will one day liberate me from indebtedness. It's not easy, but use your medium to assure everyone that there's hope for the future. Society should always develop a mechanism for people in distress to be assisted.
You have communicated to the listeners, and I'm glad that you've done that. We just would want to say thank you very much. And thanks very much for sharing. And I think that one other thing that might have helped him, I'm just asking a question, could be the fact that maybe the people he owed money to have not come at him, big time. Because sometimes when they come at you and they are giving you stress and pressure and you cannot bear it, then those thoughts will come to mind. On Facebook, we have Gordon Nulava Samoa. Hi, Gordon. He is watching us on Facebook. He's in Italy right now. He says anyone contemplating suicide should watch the movie Stay, produced by Stella Damasos in the US. And he goes on to say we can also help reduce it if we take safeguarding seriously. Sometimes we see these people exhibiting the traits of depression, and they even talk to people, but they are not given professional help. We should have safeguarding leads in every institution so that any hint we get, we can report it for them to have professional help. And that's what we picked up from yesterday, because on Tuesday, actually, when the man said if the daughter was in Ghana, simple. Let's go back onto WhatsApp.
Good morning, Mr. David. This is a very important topic that you have been discussing over a few days. My name is Peter. I think one of the things is that most of us in the society do not even see it as a problem. And when someone says it, we'll bluff over it. But I think that if the research shows that anybody who have committed suicide have mentioned it somehow, some way, but it was not taken serious. I remember sometime I was talking to a female friend, a lady, and she made a comment like, I don't even think I'm worth living again based on what happened. Immediately I hung up and I called a sister of her who was living, even though the same community, but not the same, that I pleaded with her that she should go there right now and find out, because the things she said, nobody knows what the next step may be. And in fact, when she went the following day, she called me and said, wow, if not for you, the way she was talking, I really wouldn't know what will happen. So people must understand that when someone opens his or her mouth and says, oh, life is not worth living, oh, this, they shouldn't take it for granted. They should deal with it. And then if you are not even closer, make sure that people get closer and find out what is going on.
Charlie, thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much. You also saved a life there, huh? So Christoph was asking about us doing some comparative analysis as to what the situation is in Ghana and that of the USA. You did some work in that regard, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I engaged a family that has also lost a relative in the US, a teenager, actually a Ghanaian, US-based couple. And then the figure that I got in the US is also quite disturbing. In 2020 alone, over 45,000 people died through suicide.
Wow.
And in that particular year, 1.2 million people did attempt suicide.
In the USA?
In the US, firearms, they contribute more than half of the suicide cases in the US. So it's not only in Ghana. So people think that in the US, where they have everything at their disposal, the economy is good and all that, still we have people with suicidal tendencies, and they go through. The gentleman who took his life, the Ghanaian who took his life in the US, yes, he's worth it. He
planned it. He shipped everything back home. He's looking back and everything. I mean,
I think the biggest problem for me is those who also attribute it to spirituality. When there are clear ways the people can
be
get
dealt
help.
with.
Yeah.
Well, eating eggs for breakfast keeps hunger at bay for longer periods because they are satisfying. This is great for people trying to manage their weight. Come to the Edrison Municipal Assembly Conference Hall this Friday and Jobbing Methodist Church on Saturday at 5 p.m. to learn all about eggs and enjoy free eggs. Remember to eat an egg today. Follow the campaign on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Extra O. So, Danny, thank you very much.
Thank you, David.
I'm still getting messages that we should do more of this conversation. So I don't know whether we can continue to do it because we've allotted 4 days to it already. Mahimi Tiwa, thank you very much as well. We're looking forward to part 2 on Monday. Meanwhile, from my very good brother here at Love 97.5, he's with Insura 104.5. I'm talking about Kingsley Odame, and we call him Asanka. He says there's a special lady who listens to Love FM every day, and she's celebrating her birthday today. So Gladys Dansoa, CEO of If God Says Yes, Who Can Say No? Company needing Gladys company ni bako. Gladys Dansoa, CEO of If God Say Yes, Who Can Say No? You are Stadium. Well, Gladys, happy birthday to you, and God richly bless you, and we wish you well as well. All right. Keep listening to Love 99.5 FM. We will never, ever disappoint you. One more time, happy birthday to you, Gladys Dansoa. And let me share this other information with you. It's from Syntex. It says, what is your preferred color of tank? Syntex has it. What guarantee do you want? Well, Syntex has it. What kind of inner layer do you want? We're talking about double, triple, quadruple. Well, as many inner layers as you want, Syntex has it too. So remember, no matter what your water needs are, Syntex has it. Syntex tank, strong, tough. Now, they have over 300 agents nationwide. And to order a tank, all you can do is to call 0244 335 168. Visit Syntex on social media at Syntex Ghana, or you can shop online on www.syntexgh.com. Syntex tank, strong, tough. Now, Bigo is here. So wake up to a taste of Bigo Cola. Nothing comes close to Bigo Cola, a drink of joy, both cold and sweet. Bigo Drink is a range of soft drinks developed, bottled, and distributed in Ghana by Trillium Industrial Ghana. Now, Bigo Cola drink offers a great taste and superior value to consumers. Now, for your parties, weddings, funerals, and all occasions, reach out to for Bigo drinks. And for the school children, I bet you this is the drink of choice. So anytime you want a drink to quench your thirst, reach out for Bigo Cola and feel the taste of nature. For bulk purchases, please call 03221 90877. It's a quality product from Trillium Industries Limited. Now, Zest Consult is still in the news for all the good reasons, because if you've been searching for the best place for your IELTS, your SAT and GRE tuition to make your study and scholarship and job acquisition abroad come true, then look no further, because Zest Consult is the number one place for you. Zest Consult has taught over 5,000 individuals to pass their IELTS, SAT and GRE. Over 3,000 nurses, midwives and other workers have passed their IELTS through them to work in the United States and the United Kingdom. Some have also acquired their IELTS passes to apply for schools outside the country. Now, a number of students have also acquired scholarships through Zest Consult to study abroad for their undergraduate and postgraduate programs through the SAT and GRE tuition. Now, they can help you study in the UK, USA, China, Germany, Australia, and many others under scholarship. Zest Consult is also into real estate services, as they assist in the selling of buildings or the purchasing of litigation-free lands. Locate Zest Consult at Kumasi Cultural Center or the Chemso near the Kumasi Airport. Call them today 0555 631 633 or 0509 092 330. Zest Consult, excellence is their hallmark. Well, shortly we'll be crossing over to join us in 9.7. We're on the Super Morning Show. They'll be talking about the floods that have taken place in the northeast regions, where floods have destroyed property and taken about some 5 lives. What is the situation right now as we speak? Stay tuned for the Super Morning Show that comes up your way shortly.
Why risk having your visa denied when you have Excel Plus Education? Do you have an offer to study in the UK, Canada, USA, or Australia this September? Do you require professional guidance on how to submit your visa application? For a free support on all aspects of your visa and student application, get in touch with Excel Plus Education right away. Call or WhatsApp us for no cost at all on 0243 334894 or 0246 725909. Excel Plus Education, putting you in charge.
Bra na minya Royal Foam mattress no. How bebre na me komu. Medam panosweni na atom. Na mechi kase so na me honam nyina ya meya. Na de kume kra ne se. Ya no mo so beda aso ape. Na wagya me. Na minya Royal Foam mattress no. Pa kwesi da aso ape. E na oye me ho ade. Congratulations dear, me fa no kwa. Asedan koma Royal Foam. Quality mattress papa fi. Oji aware Royal Foam. What manani relaxation ayede. Anwoto so a wunya wo mu ne se. Royal Foam mattress eye papa. Eche yie eye quilted mattress inti. Woda so a ama wona ye foam. Se woto mattress free Royal Foam a. Zeche wo free pillows. Royal Foam aje abasobode e wo 12 Ghana Business and Financial Excellence Awards no mu. Yet on quality duvets, curtains, beds, ne carpentry foams ahodo nyina bi. Hwehwe yen wo Royal Foam showrooms any sales depots a wo Ghana fana nyina. Fre 020-227-1000. Royal Foam, rest assured.
Daffy's Ohimanio. Daffy's Ohima feminine mischanti. Amasabo so many so Emma. Ye bui and sayente ya ubia. Esa siesi man kasa. Daffy abusiana ekese. Yentie dia man for comfort and nupano.
Daffy shower gel. And pour na money. You want to dear. And a cocoa dear. What did Jaria? And my natural look.
Mensu de misu Daffy's feminine cleanse and then a capsules ne siesi me. And my mintin carboni bia me Jimmy who dear and casa.
Daffy nupano. And what dance ye bebre. Daffy sana. Abama yenina.
Open did witwa. Duffy's Health and Beauty ewo East Legon American House. Kumasen so ye Bank Tech Hospital. Enye map him for.
FDA aje edwedin krato yato.
Yefemule, yefemula, yefemule, yefemula, yefemone.
Introducing Pick 4 from Game Park Games, the easiest lottery to play and win. Pick 4 numbers from 0 to 9 up to 3 times a day to become one of our daily winners. More moolah, more power. Play online at www.gameparkgames.com or dial *946# to play. Game Park Games is regulated by the National Lottery Authority, not for persons under 18. Play responsibly. Pick 4 from Game Park Games. More moolah, more power.
It does get better anytime your favorite shop, Malcolm, says it's there for you and got you covered with all your daily need items. Continue shopping on products ranging from groceries, stationery, electronics, homeware, kitchenware, furniture, home decor, electricals, and many more at low prices. Terms and conditions apply. Malcolm, where Ghana shops.
SD Dombo University of Business and Integrated Development Studies School of Business offers accredited weekend MBA and MSc programs within 15 months in accounting, finance, human resource management, procurement and supply chain management, health service management, marketing and strategy, and Master of Public Administration. We also offer 2-semester MSc programs in development finance, project management, accounting and finance, leadership and management studies, and innovation and entrepreneurship, and 2-semester Master of Public Health in 12 months. Our centers are Accra, Wa, Bolgatanga, Tamale, Kumasi, Kumasi, Suyani, and Koforidua. What to expect? First-class tuition. Our programs give you favorable exemptions with professional bodies, fully air-conditioned lecture rooms. We provide snack and lunch each day at no extra cost. Apply now at www.wmba.ub.edu.gh. Application fee is 205 Ghana cedis. Dial star 887 star 18 hash to buy voucher. Alias is UBs or buy from Stanbic Bank, ADB, GCB, and Consolidated Bank, Ghana. Application deadline is 31st of August and lectures start on the 2nd of September 2023. For enquiries, call 0594 971 779 or 0203 455 499.
Hey, are you worried about your parties, weddings, hangouts, on what drink to enjoy for the celebration? Or you're worried about how to celebrate your friends and family during that special occasion? Bigo. Now that is Bigo! With Bigo, no wahala for the occasion. They made it for everyone to enjoy and have the ideal celebration. Bigo, the soft drinks that comes in 16 and 20 in a pack. Hey, Charlie, that is Bigo. A lot to go around in various packs. It's refreshing and good quality. Now that is Bigo. The taste is Bigo. Another quality product from Twillium Industries Limited. This advert is FDA approved. Bigo.